Hey everyone, my name is Shakaraz and welcome to Pro Tier. Today we'll be taking a look at lane swaps and why they happen in pro play. Usually, Pro Tier is a series of articles I write, but this time we're doing a video as lane swaps become much easier to explain in a video format. So, what is a lane swap? A lane swap occurs when positions are swapped. Typically we see a solo top, a solo mid, and a duo bot. Throughout time, there have been endless iterations of lane swaps where a team would have at least two of their lanes change positions in the map. There are multiple reasons to initiate a lane swap, but we'll get to that later. Lane swaps are an old concept. They date back to Season 2. Back then, bot lane switched top and we had 2v1 lanes. The idea behind it was simple, to remove a disadvantageous matchup. Usually, 2v1ing meant your AD carry could safely scale, while the enemy top laner was heavily denied. Teams that lane swapped usually had the better top laner for swaps that could easily farm under turret after getting pushed in. From there, junglers would either go to their solo lanes to attempt a 2v2 kill, or go to their duo lane, make it a 3v1 and attempt to dive. In this case, in the Season 3 World Championship, Bengi realizes what Lucky wants to do and goes to his solo lane and defends his solo laner from getting dove. But enough of history. Now that we understand the reasons behind this very old concept, we can move on to what lane swaps are today and why they happen so frequently. Nowadays we see what's called a 3v0 or 4v0 push. The jungler and top laner duo jungle for a short time, while the AD carry is last hitting the first wave of minions. The support is free to roam here and usually goes inside the enemy jungle to place down a ward and get information on the enemy's whereabouts. On the second or third wave of minions, usually the second one, teams start pushing in and take the turret with a stacked wave. A stacked wave is a bigger wave that has more minions that survived from a previous wave. From there, 3 champions relentlessly hit the tower until it goes down. Usually, any other enemy wave that comes is proxied, meaning it's taken down before it meets the allied wave of minions. When taking the turret, it's usually important to be able to bounce the wave. Bouncing the wave is essential, letting most of all of your minions die to the enemy turret right before you destroy it. This is very important to do, as leaving minions up after taking a turret means they'll stack up with the next wave and keep pushing. If they keep pushing, the enemy might be able to freeze the wave under his tier 2 turret and get a massive advantage, which is something teams definitely want to avoid. If the wave is bounced correctly, the next minion waves will meet somewhere here, which is a much safer spot than beyond the first turret. If done correctly, this will slowly start to push towards your tower, meaning there's no chance for a freeze. After the first turret taken, teams either go back to standard lanes or swap again and have both outer turrets taken down. There are multiple possibilities, but we won't go over them. So, in essence, lane swaps. Boring to watch for the average spectator? Yes. Very non-interactive as there's barely any fighting or skirmishing? Also true. Easy to do? Not at all. There are multiple little details that need to be done correctly in order to have a lane swap executed perfectly. Take the infamous example of the Dignitas vs Renegades game. Dignitas failed to damage the turret enough before the minion wave ends, and as a result get 2 executes. There are other aspects of the lane swap that need to be done correctly. In this example, CBLOL team Red Canids fails to bounce the wave, and as a result allow Pain's top laner to freeze and gain a 40 CS lead and a 2-level advantage. So, why do teams lane swap? What is the idea behind it? There are a multitude of reasons to lane swap. Teams can lane swap to ensure their pick can scale or avoid a weaker early game. This is usually for AD carries such as Ezreal or Sivir that have trouble in early laning and want to get some gold to hit their power spikes first. Teams can also lane swap to deny scaling. Champions like Ryze want to be in standard lanes to get a lot of gold, and swapping can delay that. If you have the weaker laning support, you can lane swap. Champions like Trundle, Alistar, and Braum lose to strong laning supports such as Karma, Bard, and Janna, so swapping can bypass this stage of the game and also allow these champions to roam, which is their strong suit. In other cases, swapping can also be beneficial to negate early game pressure from a jungler. Champions such as Elise or even Evelynn really thrive in standard lane scenarios. Opening up the map for roams can also be a reason to lane swap. Anyways, you probably understand by now that teams have so many reasons to lane swap that it's become super frequent. The problem is that there aren't many reasons to stay in standard lanes. In the current meta, the most important objectives are getting those paper turrets down, as they provide global gold advantage for your team. Right now, neutral objectives aren't very important early on. When the Dragon gave 190 gold per player, there was more reason to keep most of your team on the bot side of the map, so they could secure that objective. In Season 6, Dragon isn't that important early on, and only recently have teams started to use Rift Herald correctly for early game inner turret pushes. It's important to note that lane swaps are also a necessary evil. Without them, strategic options become stale, and champion pools in competitive play would be dominated by the best laning champions only, and those same champion pools would be significantly reduced. And as for patch 6.9, well, the new Dragon and Herald changes should bring more fights around these neutral objectives, which in turn means that we might not see as many lane swaps, as the importance of a first Dragon might be greatly increased. But we'll leave speculation for now and wait for the newer patches to hit competitive games in Summoner's Rift. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned a bit more about lane swaps and how important they are. If you have any questions, feel free to ask and I'll answer them to the best of my ability.